Joining us in studio now is British journalist and international affairs commentator Tom Gross.
Hello.
Hi, Tom. Thank you for joining. Now, let's take a step back and discuss a little bit of history. What were the British reasons for supporting the Balfour Declaration?
Well, a lot of people point to geostrategic reasons. For example, the British wanted control of the Suez Canal. But in fact, Britain already had control of Egypt, so Israel wasn't that important in that regard. Some people point to more sinister motives, i.e. that certain Europeans, including certain British people, would like Jews to leave Europe and basically anti-Semitism. But I'd say there was a more admirable motive, was the main motive, which is by November 2017, the British, like the Americans, supported the principle of self-determination in the crumbling Ottoman and Habsburg empires. So there were many states that came into fruition after the First World War, for example, Czechoslovakia. So like any other people, many British people thought that the Jews deserved a homeland, just like there were many other states born around that period.
Mm-hmm. Now, some critics say that it's Britain's fault that the Palestinians didn't get a state of their own. Is this a fair criticism to make?
No, I don't think it is. First of all, out of British mandate Palestine, the British did actually create an Arab state. It's called Jordan. And in the remaining part of Palestine, which is now Israel, the West Bank and Gaza, there have been many opportunities for the Palestinians to have an independent state, which Britain has supported, in 1937, in 1947 and 48, and then later in Israel after the 67 war, under Ehud Barak, under Prime Minister Ehud Olmert, and so on. So in fact, there are many, many stateless peoples all around the world who aspire to have their own homeland. For example, recently, both in Catalonia and Kurdistan, there have been votes, overwhelming votes by people there to have an independent home, and they garnered almost no international support. In the Catalan case, none. The Palestinians, on the other hand, not only have the whole world almost backed the case for an independent Palestinian state, most Israelis and successive Israeli prime ministers have. So if anyone's responsible for the Palestinians not having an independent state, it's their own leadership, not the British fault.
Mm-hmm. Now, along those lines, some UK politicians and media are saying the UK should apologize for the Balfour Declaration. Why is that, and should they?
Well, if Britain were to apologise for the Balfour Declaration, it would have to start apologising for almost everything. I mean, for example, Iraq is also a creation of Britain. Jordan is a creation of Britain, which many people dispute, of course, the Kurds, for example. Almost every border in the world has some kind of border dispute on it throughout all 5 continents. And I don't think, if you start apologising, every country might as well apologise to every other country. I don't think there's anything uniquely anti-Palestinian or anti-Palestinian Arab in British policy. On the contrary, they did try to create a Palestinian Arab state, and it was rejected by various Arab countries and by the Palestinian leadership. So again, I don't think it's the British fault that there's no Palestinian state.
Mm-hmm. Now, what was the situation back then with other world powers? Did they support this as well?
Well, one mustn't forget that Zionism predates even Theodor Herzl's famous book, The Jewish State, in 1898, I think it was, as far back as 1799, when Napoleon, the French leader, was laying siege to Akko in northern Israel. He supported the creation of a Jewish state. The German Kaiser in the 19th century also called for a Jewish state, although that was largely for anti-Semitic reasons. And various other people have historically supported it, the Chinese, the Americans, and so on. So it's not only a British idea to have a Jewish state here in Israel.
Okay, thank you very much, Tom Gross. We're taking a short